service and keeping a schedule's all about. And they love the way Pekarske handled their budget and their schedule.
One of the first questions I asked Mark was, timeline, when we're going to, when do we expect it? And unbeknownst to me, when I mentioned you guys put together a timeline to, from start to finish, and he actually does do a timeline from when the hole is dug and benchmarks different activities and start and stop activities until the end, and be damn close.
Aside from the organization, the Pekarske experience is a huge plus for buyers. Vic and Lynn Walsh hired Pekarske to build their home in Valders in 2010. They tell a good story about the beginning of their building process.
I actually interviewed 4 builders, 4 prospective builders, showed them our designs, and went over them with each builder and proceeded with bids. We had a couple of our contractors question the design, but we're definitely going to go ahead with it. But it was Mark who really sat us both down and said, "Are you really sold on this design?" Because we turned to the internet and picked a design that we thought would work good. And he sat down and pointed out the flaws, in a no-nonsense, very nice way. He said, "I understand what you're trying to achieve," but then pointed out the flaws of it and where it was going to cost us more money. And he then proceeded to find out what was important to us in the house we built, and we pretty much started over.
Was he right?
From that point. He was absolutely right.
The Walshes wound up with a wonderful Pekarske home, complete with a cool home theater room downstairs. And they have great feelings about Pekarske builders. They had built before with another builder 5 years earlier, and it was not a pleasant experience. This time was very different.
Mark did give me a list of past customers he had, and I took them up on the offer, and I did phone a few of them, and my main question was, did he hold his schedule? And they all said yes. They all said yes, and was pretty much highly recommended. So we went with it.
He gave us a Gantt chart in the beginning for a schedule, and you knew what was going to be going on at the house any given day. And he was within a day or two of everything happening, and you know if there's going to be a painter there, or drywallers, or how long the insulators are going to be there. The cabinet, everything was all within days.
Surprised you?
Yes, very much. Something that you have a hard copy of that you can actually see what's going to be happening.
Like all Pekarske homes, the Walsh's home was completed on time and on budget. That's a given at Pekarske. But another key positive with Pekarske is the general feeling of partnership that Pekarske has with clients. Mark Pekarske believes in lots of communication, unlike lots of other builders. Remember, the Walshes had built before and it had not gone well.
Not like my last experience at all, where you feel like you're just a nuisance and you're in the way, and I'll get to you when I get to you. Keep getting pushed off. If Mark didn't answer my phone call, he returned it typically within an hour. Even if he was going to be out of town or had some family issues, he told me in advance, just so you know if you're looking for me.
Lynn and Vic made some changes along the way, which some builders simply despise. Not Mark Pekarske. He believes that building should be a team effort, if that's what the client wants. If you want Pekarske to build your home and you arrive in a few months and move in, fine. But most people don't want that. They want to be involved, and they want to feel that they are valued. Many builders don't want you on their job site. Mark Pekarske encourages it.
We would always discuss it to make sure we were both on the same page, that a mistake wasn't made, that he fully understood what we were talking about before he proceeded. So we always had the quotes up front. We were actually living out of our camper when we built the house, and we had internet set up, and we had sometimes daily emails going back and forth. He would update the drawings to what changes we wanted to make, and I had them that night. We could discuss them and email them right back. There was always a strong confidence level. I mean, even when we would stop by the site here, the neighbors would come over and they're like, "I can't believe how fast your house is going. I can't believe how hard those guys work."
One of the questions I always ask builders is, how do you handle the punch list? A punch list, in case you don't know, is a list of things that the homeowner finds that are wrong. Once they move into the home, they're in there a little while and they call the builder up and say, hey, this is the punch list. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. Well, you know, builders always have punch lists, but when I asked Mark about that, he seemed a bit taken back, as if he didn't even have a punch list. Take a look.
Typically, we don't really have a punch list at all. We know what's got to happen. My guys make lists as we're going along, what has to happen. But we don't have a list that says this is wrong, this is wrong. What happens is when the persons are there and the homeowner moves in, they're going to find something. Maybe a very little thing. Maybe it's some paint cracking or something going on. Maybe some caulk or whatever it is. But I said just make a list. And what happens is after you get a couple things on a list, give me a call in a month, let me know if there's anything on that list. Sometimes we don't get a call again. Sometimes we get a call with a couple things on it. We say, you know what, we'll come back and check it. One thing we do that we know a lot of with the Wisconsin Energy Star homes is everything gets tested, performance tested. So when we get done with a house, we always tell people how it's going to perform before. Remember we talked about how much it's going to cost. We're going to save some money every month because we're building a very energy efficient house. So that's a claim we make. Like anyone can make a claim. But until you actually test it and find out how it's performing, that's what really matters.
Remember, most builders have a long punch list to deal with after somebody moves in. Listen to Lynn Walsh. She didn't really have a formal punch list when her family moved into their Pekarske home.
He got us in here ahead of time, and any things that were left undone were done the following week. Yeah, he did not want to let us down on that move-in date.
Give Pekarske Builders a call. Check out the website. The contact information is right there on your screen. If you're in the early stages of building your home, perhaps just shopping for a lot, call Mark Pekarske. You will really appreciate his expertise, and he's a nice guy. Speaking of which, Mark uses some really great partners on his homes, and one of them is Russell Guns. Russell Guns Plastering's been around for a very long time, and if you look at the walls in a Pekarske home, you can see the Guns difference.
We've been meeting Russell Guns. I know him for quite a few years, and really I met him at the Home Builders Association, and through that association that's how you get to meet different vendors. And he always comes, and he's always a nice guy to talk to, and finally I started using him, and he's working out fantastic. Just a good group of guys, and he does a fantastic job.
The great guys from Guns Plastering work all over the region, from Green Bay to Milwaukee and in between. If you need to match a wall in a remodel, for example, Guns Plastering are experts. They are true craftsmen with older plastering techniques that you just don't see anymore, and cutting-edge styles, all the new techniques as well, to give your home a very special look and feel. Over 30 years in business, you don't last that long unless you're good. Guns Plastering. Give them a call. You'll be glad you did. Pekarske Builders is also proud to work with Ellerman Glass. For all of its glass and homes that Pekarske builds, Ellerman is very established. Back in 1958, Ellerman started as a family business with a huge range of glass services for home, business, even auto glass. In fact, Mark and his wife Tammy liked Ellerman so much, they bought the company.
We do auto glass, heavy shower doors, so there's these beautiful shower doors. You're probably going to be looking at some of those going to a site. Those kind of things we do there. Just about anything, replacement glass, fireplace glass, plexiglass, high temp ceramic glass, just about commercial glass. Just about anything you could think of with a glass product in it, we take care of it there.
Ellerman Glass, 2507 Marshall Street, Manitowoc, Wisconsin. On the web at ellermanglass.com. Come in for a custom mirror frame, have a window repaired or replaced, incredible custom glass shower doors that will change the face of your bathroom in a very compelling way. Ellerman Glass does all kinds of custom picture frames for wonderful gifts, glass tabletops, screen repairs, repair on those windshield chips, and full replacement of your auto glass if you need it. If it's glass, Ellerman does it, and more. You know, I travel all over the country doing this program, and I have met some of America's best builders, and Mark Pekarske is among them. And one of the things that separates him is that he is very progressive about educating himself and his people. He is on top of the new technologies. He's an engineer by trade, so he's interested in those types of things. And the homeowners who buy from Pekarske really benefit from that.
Also what we do is put it in 3D for them so they can better understand. versus just a piece of paper looking down at you. It's very hard for the homeowner to understand what's going on. Even for us, sometimes it's hard to understand and visualize what it's going to look like. So we put it on 3D, spin it around. They can understand what it looks like, how it feels. We can put colors on it. We can put grass down, whatever they want, to give them a good idea of what they're looking for. And then we just then they can really visualize on the outside and on the inside.
Being able to see the house, see how the furniture will look, is so powerful. This drawing shows a pergola that Mark is building for Chuck Storm and his wife. It was a little project that Mark was helping the Storms out with, but I found it so telling that Mark even drew this project out first in 3D so the Storms could see exactly what their pergola would look like. And look at it in real life. It looks like that. It's pretty amazing. Most Pekarske clients are simply blown away by the pre-planning and science that goes into a Pekarske home.
What he did is he took an existing plan of his, and he's got the latest and greatest CAD system, and we tweaked it to our needs. Like the front foyer here was not on the plan, and we felt that we needed a front foyer, and we just moved rooms around, and as he's playing with it, we just moved doors around and move a closet here or there, and you know, it's not like you had to send it out to somebody to hand draw. It was done right there when you're sitting there.
Pre-planning and then testing the house when it's finished. That's right, before Mark ever hands a homeowner the keys, he pays an independent testing agency to come in and test that Energy Star house to make sure it's as efficient as it can be.
We get done with the job and we test it, and how does it perform? How are the bath fans, the ventilation? How is the HRV, the heat recovery ventilator? How is that thing working? How is everything working in the house? So we do the testing. How tight is the house? And if it's a very, very tight house, it's very, very good.
Mark says he loves the diversity of his job and this beautiful place in which he and his wife are raising their 4 children. The lake, the change of seasons, and most of all, the people, Pekarske clients who love their homes.
It's been great. I have not had him back here for anything to repair on here, and he lives 2 miles down the road. So if there was something wrong with it, you can bet that I would have called him up and he'd be up here. Now, he's helped me out on a few projects around the house just as a friend, and he's close by and he has no problem with that. And it's just a kind of, I guess, relationship that I have with him now. And that's all come from building our home, and you can see that the final product and the response that we got on the parade of homes as it went through was all positive. And none of that has changed now. I don't have what I've heard from some other friends of mine who went through the new process. After a year, your house is going to settle, and you're going to get cracks in your drywall, and you're going to start seeing this and other issues. None of that has shown up. You know, here we are pushing 3 years now in the home, and no problems. I mean, I really couldn't be happier.
I would use Mark again. He was wonderful about everything. I mean, I really didn't have anything that I had an issue with the whole time, and I've heard horror stories from people, you know, what they went through with their builders and how they had problems and couldn't get answers and things like that, and we never really had that.
Well, that's it for this edition of Builders Spotlight Television from the banks of Lake Michigan here in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. A beautiful place with a great community, very nice people. I urge you, if you live anywhere in this region and are considering building a new home or any construction or remodeling project, call the great people at Pekarske Builders. Mark is a trustworthy guy who does everything with integrity. He's a straight shooter, one of America's best builders. For Builders Spotlight Television, I'm Rich Noonan. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.